'81 was the year shit hit the fan in a major way. A sad day for aspiring artists. Almost 20 years after the fact.
Aloha YouTube, what is up? Professor Untied here with another episode of Art of the Flip. If you guys don't know what Art of the Flip is, it's a series where we basically talk about reselling sneakers and how to get in on a very, very lucrative business if you kind of know what you're doing. And that's what this series is supposed to represent. It's just a lot of sharing the information that I've gathered from trial and error, honestly, to kind of present to you guys so you guys can avoid all of those errors and just make positive gains. If you guys have not watched the previous episodes, please do that now. You can check them out in the playlist labeled Art of the Flip. But for today's episode, we will be talking about how to practice, like, safe practices, I guess, for selling shoes online. So selling shoes online for the most part is some of the sketchiest dealings you could ever be doing. It's sketchy. There's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of people that will try to steal money from you. There's just a lot of like crazy things that can get you into a lot of trouble, and you'll end up losing money, more so than you're making money. And that's a scary thought. A lot of it is that I know a lot of you guys are watching that are very, very young. Like, by very young, I mean like you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. I just want you guys to know that in the sneaker community, there's a lot of good guys out there, but there are also a lot of bad guys. And by bad guys, I mean there's people that want to try to take your money or scam you and things like that. So just try to follow these like guidelines and you should be okay. So let's bring out the board. One of the first things that you should know is that if you can get a third party like person like eBay, GOAT, or StockX to help you with your sales, that is probably the #1 thing that will save you a lot of time and hassle with fakes and chargebacks and scams. Okay, so the reason why a third party is good is because you're protected. You're protected from those kinds of chargebacks. You're protected from getting fake items and things of that nature. So let's kind of go over it, I guess, one by one. eBay is probably the most sketchy out of those three in terms of reselling, just because there are a lot of fakes on there. eBay cannot monitor every single item that is posted onto their forums. So that is where the problem lies. Like, you'll see a lot of fakes. You're gonna have to legit check for yourself in pictures if you're buying, and if you're selling, you're gonna have a lot of people that are trying to swindle you. So one of the main things on eBay is you should only sell to people that have higher than 0 ratings. So 0 ratings are basically, I'm gonna assume, false accounts that people use in order to create chargebacks, get free shoes, and never pay you for it. So just be careful of that. There's a lot of people with 0 ratings, and if you see a 0 rating, for the most part, it probably is something is up. Especially if they're trying to message you on the side and say, okay, let's avoid eBay and let's just go straight to like PayPal, and I'll send you cash this way and we can do it that way so you'll save from the fees. Don't buy into that. Pay the extra fees so you have seller protection. Just pay it. You want to do your transaction within eBay. Don't create PayPal invoices. Don't try to get like Venmo'd money, things like that. Don't do it. There are a lot of ways that they can scam you and you'll never see your shoes or your money ever again. So just avoid that. Stick with selling in eBay. So for GOAT and StockX, it's really easy because you're never going to interact with your buyer, so that makes it really nice. As a seller, you know that you're going to get your money in and out, and it's quick and efficient. That's why I like selling on GOAT, honestly, because they're a great third party. You send it right to them and then they send it out to your buyer, and that's it. As soon as it gets to their factory, you're getting paid, and that's quick and easy. Avoids a lot of hassles, avoids a lot of scams, and it just is like a very safe method to use. So beyond that, I was touching earlier about PayPal. PayPal can be a really useful resource if you're trying to like buy and sell via like Facebook forums. For me, I use this forum right here, Hawaii Sneakerheads, and that banner is like right up here, quite a lot. And the reason why is because local sales, you avoid a lot of fees, you avoid a lot of like, just you can save more money. You don't need to ship. It's a lot less hassle if you know what you're doing. So what does that mean is that you can sometimes still have to ship, which is okay, especially if you're living in Hawaii. Like, inter-island transactions are possible, but I feel like they're only possible if you use PayPal Invoice. So PayPal Invoice, it creates that kind of third-party thing that I was saying again. The reason why is because you have seller protection. You create an invoice. If you send them your product and they try to get chargeback money, or they don't pay you or things like that, it lessens the damage that can be dealt. You're gonna get paid automatically because it's an invoice, so he's gonna have to pay to that invoice, and it creates a receipt. A receipt is good for not only the seller but the buyer as well. So if you can do that, that is really the safest way. Some people will say, okay, can we do friends and family? And you can change money that way, but you don't get seller protection, and that's a hassle because if they charge back that money to their account, you're out of a shoe and there's nobody you can go complain to for your money back. Whereas if you have the invoice and they try to do chargebacks and things like that, you're more protected because you have a piece of paper saying, okay, they acknowledge that you sent the item to them. So that is a big thing. You guys want to be protected online. There's a lot of scams, like I said, a lot of fakes that can be sold. And you just want to make sure that you're in the best possible scenario to send out shoes to people and create money and get it back on your own. From personal experience, I've actually had problems with like chargebacks and things like that, where people say I'm not getting the right shoe, or the shoe you sent me is fake. And honestly, that is some of the most BS you can ever hear. All of the shoes that I get are from Soul Supremacy. So for the most part, I know every single one is legit. There's no way that they're fake shoes. People will say they're fake though, and this is why. Because if you're selling a used shoe, there's no way if they ask for a return, you can know that the exact same condition of the shoe you sent is the same shoe you'll be receiving back. Which is why there's no returns on like any of my shoes that I sell, because used, it's impossible to tell. Whereas a new shoe, okay, if it's in new condition, they didn't try it on, then okay, that makes sense. But here's the thing, because if there's no third party like transaction and stuff like that, like sending it to GOAT where they authenticate first, if you sell your shoe to somebody, like say in Chicago, I send it out to Chicago, the guy gets it, he sees it, it's real. What is he gonna do though if he's sketchy and wants to scam me? He puts a fake shoe out, exact same shoe, so I send him a Bread Yeezy, then he puts in a fake Bread Yeezy and says, okay, this is a fake. And because it's the exact same size and same model and everything, and he's gonna send it back as a fake when actually you sent him the real shoe. So that's why it's important to get all of your paperwork and documentation, important to take pictures of stuff that you send out, and just be as well documented as you can, because things like that happen. There's a lot of sketchy people in the world, guys. There's a lot of sketchy sneakerheads, and it's very unfortunate because they're just shoes, but people see it as a very lucrative thing. And the best way to avoid all of this stuff is to stay protected and use these tips. So if people are trying to do sneaker trades as well online, I, for the most part, will always avoid that. In general, I'm not a big fan of sneaker trades. It's never an even transaction because values are perceived differently, especially on like used shoes. So it's really, really hard to find like a perfect median where it's a fair trade. Usually somebody's getting a little bit less or a lot more, honestly, than the other guy. So it's crazy. And especially trying to send a shoe from, like I said, Chicago, sending it to somebody in Chicago, they have to send a shoe back to me. That's like, there's so many things that can go wrong with that. So I really, really, really am suggesting do not try to do sneaker trades over shipping and things like that. It's just there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's just not worth it. If you can do locally, like local sneaker trades, that's okay. And I know there's gonna be a lot of guys that say in the comments below, well, I do sneaker trades all the time through shipping and we email and this back and forth and it's safe. And yeah, there's gonna be times when it's safe, but for all those times it's safe, there's gonna be like 3 or 4 times more fraud possibilities. And I know, like I said, most of you guys are younger, so you can't really like sniff out those frauds, and it's terrible. So just avoid it altogether and you'll be fine. If people try to hit you up on your Instagram to buy shoes and it's like, okay, I'm gonna DM you real quick, here's my number or whatever, call this and do that. If they're trying to get straight up money for you or it seems sketchy and something seems off, use your better judgment and realize that it's not a good idea. There will be other opportunities to sell your shoe. You do not need to force it and sell to somebody that seems sketchy or off. Same thing with any deals. If you try to buy something online, if it seems too good to be true, it's probably a fake, or something is definitely wrong with that shoe, okay? If you see a cause for $400, that is not a real cause for. Let's be real. It's just, that's how it is. You have to use some like common sense, common sneaker sense, common sneaker head sense. I don't even know if sneaker heads have common sense, because I mean, we spend all of this money on these things that, like, I don't know. Anyway, this has been another episode of Art of the Flip. I know it seems like some standard information, but I know at the same time there's a lot of you guys that have not run into these problems, and I think it's critically important that you guys get it out of the way early to avoid all of these scams and frauds and things like that. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button down below. If you guys like the Art of the Flip series in general, hit that subscribe button right here. Helps me out a lot, and I really like making these videos for you. I know they don't get the most views and it's just a lot of information, but I know a lot of you guys want to do the same things that I'm doing and making a lot of money like I'm doing. That's how that goes. Again, be safe, use common sense, and you'll be a-okay. Till next time, Professor Untied here. This has been another Art of the Flip. I'll see you guys next time. Aloha. Shoots.